Hey everybody, welcome back to the war. Let's do a quick recap. Here in the east, all of our sieges, our war of attrition is really starting to pay off now, as we've broken the vast majority of the Confederate armies in Virginia. They are all, other than the Army of Georgia, hightailing it out of there, and the Army of Georgia is only 12,000 men strong. They seem to be running too. So we're going to have Tim Tam Andrews come here to this crossroads. What it looks like now, and I can't guarantee it, is it looks like Richmond might be defended, not undefeated. We're going to have Grant come to the crossroads. If the enemy wants to fight, fine, and then we're going to have him make a move on Richmond. In the meantime, we have the Army of D.C. Let's see if I can find a better way to click on them. They're moving directly on Richmond, as is Custer. And then we have the Army of the Potomac under Dutton. He's just sitting back a little bit because his readiness isn't good, so he can't go attack so much. And we do want to have one army back just in case. I am a little leery with all the Confederate armies headed towards maybe Lynchburg, but they're probably not going to be ready to fight for a while. And the thing is, if we take Richmond, we probably win the war. The enemy morale is down to 43. And taking Richmond alone would not win the war. But the fact that we control most of Tennessee and most of Georgia and parts of Alabama and most of Arkansas, and they've lost most of the battles. We've won 35, they've won 3. They've lost 100,000 more men than us in casualties. Like, their morale is just crushed. If we go over to Sherman over here, Sherman's main body of the army is building a supply depot. They're having some food issues, as is Second Corps. I'm going to move Second Corps anyway. I'm going to move Second Corps up near Georgia. And I want them there to defend Georgia in case the stupid Florida army makes a move on them. And speaking of this area, the stupid army of the South is trying to take Savannah back. I'm pretty sure if they want to take Savannah back, they're going to have to siege our garrison here at this fort. It's a small garrison, though. I don't anticipate it'll hold. It's not a big deal, it's just a minor inconvenience. If Savannah falls and Richmond falls, I think we're still going to win the war. Either way, if the war takes longer than that, once Sherman's got his supply depot here, he can kick the crap out of them and probably take Georgia permanently. Davis is just getting his supply stuff up, his readiness up. And then out west, Harney is chasing the Missouri State Guard, who he beat recently in a battle. And the Missouri State Guard, you can see, is having supply issues. They are totally cut off from their supply network. So definitely lots of interesting little storylines to follow. Man, we still got so many prisoners. Did we get any of them shifted off over to Joliet? Over to Chicago? Oh, yep. The Chicago prison camp, as soon as it was built, it was filled to the maximum. We actually need another prisoner camp. How do I make one of those? Whoa! Why do they turn the camera when this happens? This was in Hartford, Connecticut. Okay, I'm gonna probably forget that. But we're building another POW camp, because we already have so many prisoners. How come isn't the Missouri State Guard moving away from you, man? Like, Harney, they should be within your combat range. Are they not within your combat range because they're in the woods? They might not be. It looks like there's a little gap there. You know what? Just stay there then, Harney. Just stay right here. If they try and move, just wreck them. Let's go find Grant. Oh, Grant's moving towards Virginia. He way outnumbers the Army of Georgia here. The Army of Georgia here only got 12,000 men. Custer is already almost in Richmond. He's starting to try and take Richmond. Go Custer. Custer couldn't wait. Oh, so Grant's army has ended up in a siege with Stonewall Jackson's Army of Georgia. Army of Pennsylvania, can you go help them? If you join that siege, I guarantee you'll win it. And then we'll get the Army of D.C. They're a little slower. Patterson's maybe not the greatest leader in the world, but he's someone. Get him moving towards Richmond. Oh, I love seeing that. A little bit of blue. Go, Custer, go. I can't imagine things are going to get better for the Missouri State Guard. Assuming they are right there and that's not old intel. I'm pretty sure they are right there. Because they are well out of supply. They're going to have to go probably march through these dense woods to hit the river. Because otherwise, Harney's combat range is all around them. If they go south or west at all. And what about you, Sherman? Alright, there we go. Second Corps is moving. You can see that they're hungry for food. Hopefully once we get them a little further away from the main body of the army, it'll be easier for them to supply themselves with food. Yeah, Tim Tam, the general man, 5 stars of experience. If we had to pick like an MVP for army generals, I couldn't pick one. Tim Tam would be on the list. I know nobody watching would probably agree. I would say Grant was. Grant didn't fight a lot of battles, but he did a lot of very important movements to take territory, like freeing West Virginia, showing up to sieges in time to help, you know, determine who won it. Stuff like that. Obviously, though, for fighting generals, I would think the 2 biggest guys would be Harney in the West and Sherman. Both of them constantly fought early on, outnumbered, and sometimes even numbers, but often outnumbered, and they constantly would win. Harney at destination. All right, Harney. And that's why we're in Arkansas, and so far deep in Tennessee and Georgia. Why is that a Confederate town? Harney, go take that town back. I don't know what's going on there, but screw that. Because I think that can count as a supply point. We're not going to have that. And what about you, Second Corps? You're still a little hungry for food? Are you at your final destination? No. Hopefully once you get a little closer to Atlanta, it'll be less of an issue. Because you can see, First Corps doesn't have the food problem. They're far enough away from the main body of the army that I guess they can forage here and whatnot. Tim Tam, the general man, are you in... Keep going, Tim Tam. I want you in the siege. I want you helping Grant out. We get your numbers in there. You should... Grant already outnumbers Stonewall Jackson's men, but you can way outnumber Jackson's men then. If we get the Army of Pennsylvania in the siege. Ooh, and Richmond is over halfway towards our side. You the man, Custer. Alright, Carlin's at destination. That's, I think, the Second Corps of Sherman's army. We can move you a little closer. Army of Pennsylvania is now in the siege against the Army of Georgia. Hell yeah. They're outnumbered almost 5-1. You can see we've almost won it already. We're just taking advantage of our numbers now. The other problem the Jackson's men are going to have is if they retreat from here, which they're going to have to very shortly, there's Union troops all over the place that they're going to have to take losses from. Do we have any other projects we can get? Not the ones I want. I never got... I don't know if this is going to win it. I think it will. I wanted to get this infrastructure one, which would have helped us hopefully immensely with infrastructure, but we never had enough subsidy points for it. Like, I was saving up for it. Ooh, Richmond getting really close. How close are you to win this thing, Sherman? I'm sorry, Tim Tam or Grant. You guys are getting really close to winning this too. Come on, Confederacy. It's time to surrender. You fought a shitty war for a shitty, horrible cause. It's time to end this. Rejoin the Union. It's definitely going to be a giant blow to their morale. Who doesn't like giant blows when Richmond falls? Any second now. There it is. Richmond has fallen. Richmond is now our territory. I'm guessing the map color will change momentarily. Richmond falls. Confederate capital taken. The president flees. Southerners in shock. They mean their president, not our president. Lincoln didn't get scared. Lincoln, don't go to the theater to celebrate. Somebody warn him. The war is over. Confederacy sues for peace. Union armies triumphant. The rebellion is crushed. The campaign is over. Union victory. Victory forever. Huzzah, boys, huzzah. Oh, yeah. That this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from this earth. Abraham Lincoln, President of the United States of America. Epilogue. A new birth of freedom. The rich and politically powerful Southern aristocracy, driven by a selfish desire to maintain their privileged way of life, tore the country in two, fanning the flames of rebellion. The Southern fire, though, could not overcome the Northerners' steel resolve. As Union armies triumphantly advance, the rebel armies lay down their arms, surrendering unconditionally. The Confederacy is no more. As Confederate President Davis had declared when the sword was drawn, the time for compromise truly had passed. Under the rule of the victorious, remaining rebellious partisans are forcibly quelled. The evil of slavery is abolished for good, as millions are freed from the shackles of enslavement. Equality, though, would prove to be elusive. The rebellion's ringleaders, greedy politicians who washed the country in the blood of young men, are finally deposed. A new birth of freedom, so violently created, does not come without travail. It would not take years, but generations, for the nation's wounds to heal. I don't know if the screen's supposed to be white. The other times I played it, I don't remember a white screen at the end. But you can see kind of the final numbers here. We kicked the crap out of them. It was a pretty good game. I like this game. This game is a lot of fun. Plus, they did a lot of research about the war, which is pretty impressive. And it's true. It took America generations to heal, and arguably maybe hasn't completely. Only now are you finding that there are places where Confederate statues are being taken down. After the war, if you're not from America, or from America you don't know, after the war, especially early in the 1900s for some stupid reason, people raised a lot of money to build statues honoring the traitors who led the Confederacy. You Yeah, and like that's finally changing. You're finally starting to see those taken down and put in museums or put other places instead of places of honor. Vicksburg's another place. Like Vicksburg, we didn't end up going to it, but Grant took Vicksburg in the war, and then Vicksburg, and they surrendered on the 4th of July. They didn't celebrate the 4th of July, our Independence Day as a nation, until I think World War II. I think until the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. Like they were sore about that 80 years later. They're like, "Ugh." Well, I don't know. Americans can be stubborn. What can I say? Either way, this game does a really good job getting into the topics of war, but also having fun strategy and tactics. So I'd like to thank you all for hanging out as we've played this 40-some episodes or whatever, and I hope you all have a great day. Take it easy, everybody. The Union forever!